3 terrifying Ouija board experiences.
1. The haunted heirloom. As the last rays of sunlight vanished behind the horizon, casting our living room into shadow, my family and I gathered around the ancient Ouija board that had mysteriously found its way into our lives. It had been bequeathed to us by a long-lost relative, and though we were skeptical of its supposed powers, curiosity got the better of us. The Ouija board itself was a weathered and ornate wooden board, adorned with cryptic symbols and faded letters. It exuded an unsettling aura, as though it held secrets from a time long past. Its planchette, smooth and cold to the touch, rested at the center of the board, waiting for our trembling hands. With a mixture of trepidation and excitement, we each placed our fingers lightly on the planchette, our hearts pounding in our chests. We began to ask simple questions, hoping for any sign of movement. At first, nothing happened, and we laughed nervously, dismissing it as a mere parlor game. But then, almost imperceptibly, the planchette began to shift beneath our fingertips. It glided slowly, spelling out answers to questions we had not even asked. A chill ran down my spine as I watched the words form on the board. I am here. Fear gripped us, but our curiosity pushed us forward. We continued to communicate with the entity, asking questions about its identity and purpose. The planchette spelled out a name from a long-forgotten legend, an entity known as Maylock. As we continued our conversation, Maylock's responses grew darker and more ominous. It spoke of anger and resentment, of being trapped in the Ouija board for centuries, and of a burning desire for revenge. Terrifying things began to happen around our home. Objects moved of their own accord, shadows flickered in the corners of our vision, and eerie whispers echoed through the halls at night. The once happy atmosphere of our family had transformed into one of fear and paranoia. Desperate to escape the malevolent entity's grip, we turned to experts in the occult, seeking a way to banish Maylock back to the darkness from whence it came. But every attempt proved futile, as the entity's power seemed to grow with each passing day. As the entity's torment escalated, it singled me out, visiting me in my dreams, filling my nights with horrifying visions. I could feel its presence lurking just beyond the veil of reality, a malevolent force that sought to consume me. We scoured ancient texts and consulted with experts, but our efforts only seemed to strengthen Maylock's hold on our lives. They reveled in our suffering, feeding off our fear and despair. As our family crumbled under the weight of the entity's torment, we knew that we were running out of time. We had unwittingly opened a door to a malevolent realm, and there was no way to close it. Our only hope lay in finding a way to banish Maylock back to the darkness before it consumed us all. I write this account as a warning to those who may be tempted to dabble in the supernatural, to those who believe that they can control forces beyond their understanding. The Ouija board had become a cursed heirloom, a relic of darkness that had torn our family apart, and I can only hope that our story serves as a cautionary tale for those who dare to tread where the living should not. 2. The accursed antique shop. The city was full of secrets, tucked away in the forgotten corners of its sprawling urban landscape. And it was in one such neglected pocket of the city that I stumbled upon an obscure antique shop hidden behind a labyrinthine alleyway. The sign above the door simply read, "Eccentric Treasures." The shop's interior was a labyrinth of curiosities, each item seemingly more mysterious than the last. Browsing among the dusty relics and forgotten oddities, I was drawn to a particular corner where a vintage Ouija board lay beneath a layer of forgotten memories. Its design was unlike any I had ever seen, ornate and intricate, with delicate symbols and intricate carvings. Intrigued, I reached for the Ouija board, feeling a strange and inexplicable connection to it. The moment my fingers brushed its surface, I sensed a chill pass through me, as though the board itself had come to life. Ignoring the unease that gnawed at the edges of my mind, I decided to purchase it, thinking it would make for an interesting addition to our next gathering. I invited my friends over for a night of supernatural exploration, the Ouija board at the center of our makeshift seance. The room was dimly lit, and the air was charged with an eerie anticipation as we placed our trembling hands on the planchette. We'd asked simple questions, expecting nothing more than a playful response. But as the planchette began to move beneath our fingers, spelling out words and phrases, a palpable sense of dread settled over us. The entity we had contacted identified itself as Helena, and its responses were filled with malevolence and foreboding. We exchanged uneasy glances as the Ouija board's messages grew darker and more sinister. Olina spoke of ancient curses and unspeakable atrocities, of a darkness that had been unleashed upon the world. Fear gripped our hearts as we realized that the spirits we had contacted were not the benign entities we had hoped for. That night marked the beginning of a nightmare. Our lives spiraled into chaos as the malevolent spirits that had been unleashed wreaked havoc on our world. Objects moved of their own accord, strange symbols appeared on the walls, and eerie whispers echoed through the darkness. Desperate for answers, I returned to the antique shop, hoping to find some clue to the Ouija board's true nature. It was then that I discovered the shop owner's dark secret. He had concealed the board's true history, a history steeped in bloodshed and evil. The spirits that had been unleashed were vengeful and malevolent, and they were determined to exact their revenge on the living. I realized that it was up to me to confront the evil that dwelled within the Ouija board and find a way to banish it back to the darkness from whence it came. But as I delved deeper into the board's history, I could feel the malevolent spirits closing in around me. They sought to possess me, to use me as a vessel for their malevolence. I was trapped in a nightmare from which there seemed to be no escape. As I write this, I can feel the malevolent presence lurking just beyond the edges of my consciousness, a darkness that seeks to consume me. I must find a way to confront the evil that dwells within the Ouija board and put an end to the nightmare that has consumed my life. 3. The boarding school conundrum. Attending a prestigious and secluded boarding school had always been a dream of mine, but little did I know that my time at Hollowbrook Academy would become a descent into darkness that I could never have imagined. It all began innocently enough. A group of curious students, myself included, stumbled upon an ancient Ouija board hidden deep within the school's archives. The board was unlike any we had seen before, its wooden surface etched with cryptic symbols and worn by centuries of age. It beckoned to us like a forgotten relic, promising answers to the questions and challenges that consumed our teenage minds. One moonless night, we gathered in a dimly lit room, our breaths visible in the chilly air as we placed our trembling hands on the planchette. We asked simple questions at first, half expecting nothing to happen, but the moment the planchette moved beneath our fingers, our skepticism vanished. The entity we had contacted identified itself as the Forgotten Ones. Their responses were cryptic, filled with hints of ancient grievances and a thirst for revenge. Unease settled over us like a heavy shroud as we continued our conversation. As the night wore on, the atmosphere grew more sinister. The Forgotten Ones spoke of a realm beyond our understanding, a world inhabited by vengeful spirits who hungered for the living. Fear gnawed at our hearts, but we couldn't tear ourselves away from the Ouija board's grip. Terrifying phenomena began to plague the school. Objects moved of their own accord, strange apparitions materialized in the dead of night, and eerie whispers echoed through the halls. Our once peaceful haven had transformed into a nightmare realm. Desperate for answers, we delved into the school's sinister history, uncovering a dark secret that had remained hidden for centuries. It turned out that the boarding school had been built on a cursed burial ground, and the malevolent spirits we had contacted were the restless souls of those who had been wronged. As the malevolent entities grew more aggressive, we realized that we had to find a way to banish them back to the realm from whence they came. We consulted ancient texts and sought the guidance of the school's enigmatic headmaster, who possessed knowledge of the supernatural. But our efforts seemed futile as the spirits' malevolence intensified. They singled us out, visiting us in our dreams, tormenting us with nightmarish visions. We could feel their presence closing in around us, a darkness that sought to consume us. The school became a battleground, a place where the living and the dead clashed in a relentless struggle for dominance. We were trapped in a nightmare from which there seemed to be no escape, and the malevolent entities grew more powerful with each passing day. As I write this account, I can still feel the malevolent presence lurking in the shadows, waiting to claim our souls. We are running out of time, and I fear that we may never find a way to banish the spirits and escape the horrors that have consumed our lives at Hollowbrook Academy. Which story caught your attention the most? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, stay safe. And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Check out my website in the description below to see what I'm writing. And just below there are some suggestions related to what we talked about today.